Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I jumped in very radio-like there. I don't know what that was about. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of Banana and Bear Rugby Podcast. Season 2, given that we just ran it straight from Season 1 to take up the Women's TikTok Six Nations. I'm sitting, as always, in my normal place in the studio. My counterpart, as you can probably pick up, is in prison. She's in prison. She's checking.
They're leaving us out. They're leaving us out now in a minute for our run.
You're out in the yard. Have you had knocked out the big boss bitch yet? Like, have you taken over the yard yet? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
No. Slowly but surely. I was arrested for doing that protest in Musgrave Park on Saturday.
Brilliant.
The funny thing is, people would believe it.
Do you know what? We should totally start that rumor. Say you're fleeing the country to avoid the authorities. And see if we get some sort of traction on it. Go, Anna. We'll start a new hashtag. I'll hide Anna. Anna.
Oh, yeah.
I have a garage in Portsmouth you can hide in.
For Anna.
Yeah, a couch for Anna, outrunning the authorities. Jesus Christ, this is amazing. So, of course, we meet as... Sure, why would you be anywhere that was stationary or stable?
Anywhere but the cupboard.
Yeah, you're now in Cork Airport. So I didn't want to know until now. Where are you? Where are you going?
So I came home last week from Spain, which is very sad.
You did?
To say adios to La Coruña.
Adios,
And
La Coruña.
so you don't have to listen to me doing that stuff anymore. At least not in Spanish for a while. But I'm going to London for a week and have a few fingers and a few pies over there. So just networking essentially for the week. And but that means then that I get to go to the match on Saturday in Twickenham, which just worked out really nicely. That it fell across this week because the match in Twickenham, England versus France, going to be the biggest, highest attended women's rugby game of all time on Saturday.
How are you getting a ticket? Because if I'm not mistaken, that should be fairly sold out.
No, it's not sold out. 50,000.
Oh, isn't it?
50,000 tickets already sold. So I need to buy my ticket because, I've been looking for someone I can sit near because I haven't bought any tickets yet. So I need to get on it. But no, 50,000. So they still have a lot of seats because I think they opened the upper tier.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because I only ask because I'm suspicious of you, right? Your fingers and pies, you're networking. You're off to England again.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was a suspicious business partner or whatever, I'd say all of that is well and good, but you've got your hair in plaits. The only other time I've ever seen your hair in plaits is all action. Are you painting a picture for somebody you're going over to meet?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Do you know what? I don't want to fucking know. This is like watching soap opera Anna. We should just make a show following Anna around the place because we don't know what's happening next. Last week it was the ice cream, threw me completely off. This week,
the seagulls.
the fucking seagulls roaring in the background. And now you're off. I can't wait to I already want to just finish this episode so we can just get to next week's episode so you can tell me what you've been up to.
Yeah, I hopefully have two good stories for next week. So from Twickenham on Saturday, because I used to live for a good few years in Twickenham and Richmond and stuff. So I'm actually delighted to go back and see. I'm going back to stay with my old housemates and I'll see the dog and then just seeing some new people, seeing some old people, a lot of people to see. I have loads of friends there. My God, I actually need to kind of keep the head down because if everyone finds out I'm there, I won't have time for everyone. So.
I feel privileged that I managed to corner an hour of your time. I just caught you mid-crisps at the actual airport. That's the only way I'll catch you, Anna, is mid-crisps at the airport. Well,
it's funny because I was going to do this at home, but then I sent you a message and you knew exactly what I was talking about. So ma'am was getting ready all day to go to the airport, but my flight is at 8:30 tonight. So...
It was as soon as I came in the door to Natasha, she was like, she was just making tea. She was like, do Are you heading out now? Or I said, no, Anna can't do it till 7. Oh, and I just briefly said what you had said exactly, just to see what she had the same response. She goes, oh, mother of Jesus. They'd be literally hanging off her ears, wouldn't they? I
So
said, yeah.
I knew that if I was sitting down like to record this, like just before heading out the door, they'd be coming in asking me questions and like, what time? Even though I will have told them what time many times. So I was like, look, just drop me at the airport and I'll record the podcast there. Or no, only the intercom's interrupting us.
That's the beauty of Cork Airport. It's a Tuesday night in Cork Airport, and it's lovely.
It's busy enough now.
Is it?
People off to Malaga. Full out flight going to Malaga. I'd say, where's the next one going? Faro, and then Heathrow. There's very few people on my flight apparently. But people getting the sun in. I don't blame them, lads. It is fucking Baltic.
It's perishing.
Like, get me back to Spain. What was I doing? What a fool.
I know. Thinking? When you sent me that, I'm off to. I went, oh shit! I sold her a bullshit story about Ireland being warm, which it was. I swear to God, for like 2 days, it got up to like.
I know a few people said it. Now, to be fair, Corona was the same, and the cold gets into your bones here. There's something happened. Like
Eric, go away at that. Do you know who says that old stuff? Old foreigners say that out. Oh, it is a different cold. Go away at it. You wouldn't have said that when you were living in Mallow and the wind blowing in one ear and out the other. No, would you stop that? That's all your fancy living and being mollycoddled going around the place as a top-end rugby player. That's all that is now.
Completely self-inflicted, you're right.
Yeah. No, you hang around here for 3 or 4 weeks in the perishing cold and you'll be going out with sleeveless shirts on you. It wouldn't bother you in the least.
Come here, how was your weekend?
I had a lovely weekend. I did a corporate for a bunch of estate agents. But they're good crack. I've done gigs for them before. There's one, do you know, she'd remind you, she won't be listening to this podcast, but I said it to her anyway. She'd remind you of Cruella de Vil, the woman that owns she's about 50 of them employed, like, and she started it all herself years and years ago and drove on, but she's like, you would imagine her smoking a fag on the end of one of them fag holders, you know. She's very grand looking woman, but she's a right old character altogether. Do you know what I mean? She's doing shots and everything in her 70s, like, you know, but it was a small gig for them that I've done it before. And it's not just straight comedy to a bunch of people who don't like each other, which is what a lot of corporates could be. Or I give talks on how to publicly speak and actually win over a crowd, not knowing them. That's mostly what I do, mostly for companies, like. But this one, it was just a table quiz that they wrote themselves. Just a table quiz. I'd forgotten what good crack this crowd were, but it was a ridiculous table quiz from blind Chris Beaton. Oh, it was just great.
Can you give me an example of one of the questions?
One of them was, it was musical ones as well. I had no idea. But they were picking obscure things like we're talking soul singers from the 40s that everybody was just cracking up at some of the questions. One of them,
they're probably all private jokes or something, was it?
There was a lot of them started roaring, laughing at a few of them. And I'm going, and then I had to pick them apart and go, well, what are you talking about? Well, there was this one time Tim came in and his arse was hanging out. Yeah. We said he looked like your man, or David Williams on that show. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, there's some intricacy. I'm sorry for opening up that kind of fucking worms. But they were good. They were a good crack bunch. But in fairness, one of their questions, fair play to them. One of their questions was me. The answer was me. And they went in depth. They went back through the annals of time, or as Borat would say, the annals of time, to find.
What was the question?
Well, it was 2-part. There was who
is presenting tonight's table quiz.
No, it wasn't. It was about a TV show that I was in, and it wasn't one that they would have known too much about. Like, it was one called Bridget Neyman, who played the neighborhood pervert.
The neighborhood pervert in Bridget
I was.
Neyman.
Do you know it was based obviously through the 80s, so it was that acceptable neighborhood pervert called Paddy the Pervert. He literally was called Paddy, but they said it was Paddy the Pervert. He was actually French. But I must send you I must send you a picture of me as it, and it might actually end our.
I liked Bridget Neyman.
It might end our partnership as podcast because you're like, I can't be. They let me dress myself. They let me go into wardrobe and dress myself, and all the other comics who I know from the show, like Sharon Mannion, Jennifer Zamparelli, as she is now. She asked me. She was, would you who do you want to be? And they gave me this other character. I went, nah, okay, let me be the pervert. She went, okay, perfect. So they let me into the wardrobe and such, because you work away. She'll pick whatever you want, Tom. It's all ages old stuff anyway. And I'm going through and I go, will I go shell tracksuit? Will I do? And then I found this owl fella. Do you know them owl fella polo like jumpers that are V-neck, but they have like 30 little deer run across this bit, 30 little snowflakes underneath, and but it was like, it was rotten looking. It looked like the color of this beigey color, and let me pick that with no shirt underneath, like nothing on a V-neck. So with a man wearing a V-neck and a hairy chest sticking out, it was a lot. The trousers, I got trousers too big for me and pulled them way up, way up. The only thing they pulled me on was that I wanted to leave the fly open and have the belt pulled out.
No.
I was going full. They gave me a little rat's tail and everything. At the time, I didn't have very long hair, but the guy, he was an amazing hairstylist. He stitched in this rat's tail that you'd swear was growing out. It was a beautiful thing. And he gave me this, at the time I didn't have a mustache, he gave me this little barcode mustache as well. And I was like, if you give me a week, it's disgusting. It was disgusting. But they picked that, who played Paddy DePervey in Bridget Neyman back in, when, I don't know, 2017 or 18 or whatever. And nobody got it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, it was great. It was great. But they had a picture of me up. Yeah, exactly. And I got stung by nettles today for the first time in about 20 years, Anna.
Jesus.
When did you last get stung by nettles?
I was only thinking of it today. I went out for a cycle and I was flying down the hill and I was like, Jesus, I remember when we used to come down this hill and fly into the nettles. You wouldn't feel it as much when you were smaller, but I haven't been stung by nettles in ages. Apparently the nettles in Spain are way worse, and they've got beautiful flowers, the nettles. So yeah. So I actually, they do. And I was like, wow, look at the flowers and nettles. And then everyone was like, don't touch that. And I was like, no, she just gets it. And they were like, no. So apparently, I don't know, maybe they're just being soft, just like the weather. But anyway, and to answer your question, I don't know when was the last time I got stung by nettles. It's been a while. What were you?
Sure, it was the little fella is getting used to nettles and thistles. Next thing, stuck his hand in looking for a ball and let a roar out of him. What's up? I need a duck leaf. Like this fella was in Vietnam. He was down on his knees, hands in the air, 3.5 years of age. I need a duck leaf. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Nettles. I'm like, Ash, it's only now nettle, Fionn. Come on. Will you up? It's only nettles. I need a duck leaf. So we found some duck leaves, squeeze them on his, and it was magic. Done. Got a biscuit off Nana. Tis the finest. And whatever way, I went in to get the ball, and I was only after telling him, Asher, nettles does nothing to him. I went in to get the ball. Of course, I got the arm stung off me with these things. What a pair of knickers I turned into. I was like, I do not remember them being this horrible. I remember falling off like a wall into in only a pair of shorts and my entire body being covered in these things. And it was like, okay, what's this? I turned into a complete knickers. I was like, oh, I think I need a biscuit as well. It was like, this is a terrible scenario altogether. So it was like,
did you get a biscuit?
I did.
What kind of biscuit was it?
It was a Jammy Dodger I went for, as it turns out. Just going really nostalgic. Like if I'm going to get stung by something from the 90s, amazing. Amazing.
From the 90s.
Jesus, that or a bourbon cream, I would have accepted either way. But
I was sad with the bourbon cream. Do you know what I had today? Was 2 custard creams earlier today.
There's a lot to be said for a good custard. Do you know what? I'd never turn down a custard cream.
Yeah, and you know what? I always was kind of like, yes, I very much enjoy custard cream. But when I was living with one of the American girls last year in Gloucester, she could not get over custard creams. And like you can get a big, massive packet of them for like 50p.
Yeah.
You know? They're incredible value. So I kind of had a newfound appreciation for them. And then because she always had them and she was like, these are sensational.
Our American old biscuits are shit anyway, to be fair. I lived there for long. Oh, they're shit. But I do you know what I was telling you about Rathcormac? They were the only crowd that gave me a packet of, they gave me presents leaving. Big bags of presents. I swear to God, inside one of them I went, Jesus, wait in that. Now I reckon some of these presents, now I don't want to out any of these people, but I reckon 1 or 2 of the presents came from underneath the tree. You know what I mean? And they were underneath which I'm more than But
Absolutely. A
they gave
regate.
me wine. They gave me Leonidas chocolates. I can tell you here now, they weren't fucking getting put away. They got demolished because that's a good chocolate, Leonidas
Yeah.
chocolates, or as
Yeah.
people in Cork call it, Leonidas. I gave up trying to tell Cork. When I lived in Cork, the amount of people that called it Leonidas, because there was
How
a
many
little,
people did you come across that used to know what this was?
because there was a little one beside the Beehive on whatchamacallit Street. That pedestrianised street. There was a little and that's all they did. Now they may have robbed the name from the well-known brand of Leonidas
Oh,
chocolates, but they had everybody. I got up to Leonidas, and you're like, that's Leonidas, the leader of the Brave 300. What? It's great. Leonidas. I mean, no, Leonidas sounds like she lives in, new two-pot house. Like, what are you talking about? This is not. There's no.
I've never met anyone called Leonidas in New Two Pot House.
I guarantee you, there's one there now. I guarantee you. But they didn't. But inside one of the bags was a box of USA assorted biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now I'll be tipping it. I haven't. I've gone. Will I leave that for a while?
Does
I won't.
USA have the one with the jelly on top?
I think it does. The little jelly star stuck into the chocolate. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm nearly sure.
I love that one.
See, now, if you weren't flying out, I would have brought it with me and we could have munched away on them. We could have sat down. No, that's a lie because there's the kitchen guy dropped off some of the stuff this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh,
sorry, I was going to say,
yes.
I also got as a present for when we do our live show.
Oh, jeez, I'm already excited.
Good.
Great. That's very exciting. Jeez, you can't tell me that now. Now I'm thinking about what present. Well, I just outed my USA assorted biscuits. No, I'm gonna have to get something else. I'm getting Leonidas.
It doesn't have the jelly on the top. I'm not interested.
I'll just fuck it in the bin. Just slap it straight out of my.
Give it back to the lads in Red Cormac. Sorry, reject.
Go again, lads. Yeah.
Do you know where I sat myself now? I sat myself on just where everyone's like walking in to the airport, and I can see everyone like walking towards me as they're going up to security. So it's very interesting.
Are you a people watcher? I bet you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love watching people. No, I like that now. Like last week when we were giving people the names.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, I have to for comedy. I have to because you got to, and it's you would say it's a mean thing to do to profile people, and I know 9/10 of the time I'll be completely wrong, but I like to profile people and go, I bet they eat Pringles with the wrong fingers. Do you know what I mean? They take them out with their ring finger and baby finger and animal. You know what I mean? Or so, I always pick odd things about people. But to answer you, the rest of the weekend was lovely. It was our 6th-year wedding anniversary on Saturday.
Oh, congratulations!
It was, and we would go for dinner. Well, let's just take the young fella out, right? What shite? We're not very sentimental folk. Not that we turn a blind eye to these scenarios. They should be celebrated, but at the same time, we're like, let's go have a bit of crack. So we went to Kilkenny and did lots of hanging around. We went on a train around the town. There's a road train around the town.
Yeah.
Which we've done before. We went, we found a playground, which was great crack. And you know something? I'll say this about Spanish people. They can be loud, the students and all the rest of it, shouting and roaring at each other, but that's just their way.
Uh-huh.
Some of the loveliest, we were there in this playground, lad is he identifies as a T-Rex. So he just runs everywhere headlong.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with rugby, but I think he wants to play rugby league. He doesn't. He just wants to smash upright all the time, like Owen Farrell. I don't know, like, man, get your show. Like, you're going to end up hurting yourself in the long run. But anyway, through all the turn, there was one of these. I don't know if you ever seen them. They're like a large circle, maybe 6 foot in diameter. They put them at an angle, but they're on bearings, so you can actually step up on it and run if you can stay balanced. These bunch of Spanish teenager girls were sitting on it, maybe 7 or 8 of them, sitting on this thing, and they were just toddling back and forth, chatting and stuff you'd know. And
that means, God, isn't this a lovely playground?
That's exactly what I was hoping. I'll record this and just send it to Anna. But first, out of nowhere, he just decides I'm going to go over and ask the girls, can I sit in between him? Like, okay, because like I said, he lives in the present. He doesn't have that shy thing. He doesn't. But they were absolutely delighted. So he sits down in between, and 2 of the girls, rather than him, and they toddled the whole way around. They paddled their feet around so he could go around with them. and they held onto his hands. I'm like, these are well-raised girls. Whoever raised them girls has raised them right. And they're quizzing him. I love the intercom going off in
I know.
Anna's actually at home. I'm just overlaying an audio track every so
That's
often.
my mother telling me that the dinner's ready.
So there was that, and we went to a shop that you would very much, next time you're in Kilkenny, you would appreciate. There's one of the great sweet shops of Ireland.
Is it on the corner?
Yeah, you know the one. So with the hatch, they do proper fluffy dolphins, the fluffy floppy dolphins.
I love those.
I gotta rake them. And I don't know will they hold. Till I see you. But
till the live episode.
Or will I be, because I'm a whore in the car. I could go away from food or bad bits altogether, but if I'm driving, that's it. If there is, I swear to God, I've never done hard drugs, but I swear to God, if there's heroin sitting on the passenger seat, I'll do it. Just while driving. I'll do it. I don't care.
I know.
We all suffer from that, don't we?
Yeah, I definitely do as well, yeah.
I'll do the thing every so often. I'll buy a pack of just dry roasted peanuts now. That's because at least peanuts are not too, and then I'll find myself just buying the chocolate ones with it as well, just to pass the time, just because you never know.
Of an emergency. Yeah.
And I think that was about it. I think Nettles, the anniversary, the corporate gig, and and next week I'm very, very excited. It's a pity you're not around because you would really, really like Fred and Cornelius that are coming to my club, the Hill Comedy Club, next weekend. But if you're around the following month, bring you down. Special guest. Who knows? You see, this is the thing. I'm just throwing it out there. Because
for more.
Yeah, well, I don't want to fish for more. No, I do. I want the surprise of next week. And Christ Almighty, if you're not up a fucking mountain with, I don't know, a yak on your back,
okay,
do you know what I mean? Just making tea out of pine needles or something. I would buy it. I would buy it right now. I mean, even if that was a green screen behind you, I'm okay with it. That you went to the effort of it. To be fair. You were in Cork anyway. I suppose we should look at some rugby. You were at the match. Were you cheering your head off?
Yeah, so I went to the match on Saturday with Energia, which was brilliant. And did some content and stuff for them.
She's Spanish? Energia, is she's Spanish?
Energia.
It would work, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'm being the dumbass on purpose.
It's funny because when I was like texting them or whatever, anytime I wrote Energia, it came up with the accent on the I. So it looked like I was like, yeah. So it keeps, it depends on the word, but it keeps like auto-correcting it now to the Spanish spelling. So I was like, like having to delete it every time. But that was great. Like we had dinner and stuff afterwards, which was lovely, and like went out for a few drinks in Cork City, which was great crack.
Brilliant.
But like a few of the girls that I'd met, like we were just chatting about, how people are, less sociable these days, and it's kind of harder to talk to people. And they said that they made a rule like that when they go out now, they have to talk to 3 people.
Brilliant.
And I was like, geez, that's great now. And we're inside in a lovely bar in Cork called Shin A. Do you know Shin A? Have you ever been there?
It's hilariously, if anybody has ever noticed, it's across from the comedy club, which I've stood at the door of many times, but it's right beside a funeral home. Now, Anna, you are Gaeilgeoir. Can you explain what Shin A? What would it mean?
That's it.
And it's beside a funeral parlor. I always thought it was
the right place.
You're in the right place, Shin A. That's it. Now. We're all done.
I actually had to go back in there the other day because I'd lost my favourite jumper, but was there.
I left a jumper in there one time as well.
Oh
Jesus.
yeah, did you get it back?
I did. But I didn't realize when I walked in there sober the next time that your floor is, health and safety would shut this place down. Your floor is all over the map. Oh, it's class.
Pub. It's such a cool pub. But anyway, this fellow walking past, and I was like, that fella looks familiar. And I stopped him and I was like, hi, how are you? I was like, you look familiar. Where are you from? And he was like, oh, I'm from Blarney. He gave me all the scale. And I was like, okay, it turns out I actually don't know who you are at all. But anyway, I was just chatting away to him. And that was grand. The girls were like, oh my God, like, how do you do it? I was like, well, just, I was like, I actually did think that I knew him, but that could work, like try that.
I
And
bet your
anyway,
brain did that to you. Do you think your brain did that to you?
my brain is doing that a lot these days. I keep thinking, it usually happens to me when I live away from home for a long time. I keep thinking I see people that I recognize. It might happen, when you're on holidays and stuff, but like it was happening me in Coruña a lot, but it's still happening me even though I'm home now. But anyway, down in we went down then to the Crane Lane. It was
Oh,
great
lovely.
crack.
Not a great bar.
And I was just saying to this, I just said to this fella next to me, I was like, your jacket's lovely.
Ma'am, she'll go when she'll
Man, that's
go,
enough
okay?
now. They're going to Faro. They're off to Faro. Um, so sorry. This fella that was next to me, he had a lovely like brown leather jacket on, like old school. And I was like, your jacket's lovely. Where is it from? And he was like, it's actually just like from a vintage store. My brother has one as well, and his brother had like a black one. And I was like, I was like, that's gas. I was like, I was living in a place called Coruña, which is like one of the fashion capitals of Spain because of Inditex and Zara and Pull and Bear. And I was just explaining this to him, like just something to talk about, like. And the brother goes, Zara is Japanese, and I was like, oh no, it's actually it's from Spain. And he was like, took out his phone, was like raging with me that I had. He was like, it's not. And I was like, oh, okay. And he Googles 2 words, Zara, Japan. And obviously, all the results that come up are Zara in Japan, whatever. And he was like, see? And I was like, oh, and I just reached out to like point at something on his screen. It was like, don't touch my phone, you
Oh my
fucking
God.
bitch.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And I literally was like, all right, bye. Like literally walked away. And I was like, this is what you get for trying to
He called him his brother.
to God, I couldn't have been nicer to the student. This is what you get. Like you try to be nice to people, and all I said was Sarah's from Spain, which is true. And I got absolutely abused. And one of the girls I was with was like, "What a hill to die on!"
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, he was raging with me like for suggesting that Zara was Spanish, and then had to prove me wrong. And then when I tried to point it out, God. Bitch, this is what you're dealing with, like, Anyway, I didn't let it ruin my night. We had a great time. But that was all. I just wanted to tell that story because I was like, I need to get that story off my chest.
That's amazing. Cocaine will do strange things to people, won't it? Because that is
Amazing.
coke. Oh, that is coke. The amount of people that I've met.
I'd say the brother was mortified, though. He was mortified. I don't know. Maybe
there's 2 ways I read that. Right, there's 2 ways I read that because I meet loads of people though coming off stage. People typically will go, and they'll introduce you to somebody who doesn't fucking want to talk to you at all.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I'll meet. So the two things I read there. So brother 2, the dickhead, was absolutely out of his eyeballs on coke. And he was just going to pick some. He was pissed off that you chatted to the brother first. That would have wrecked his head. And the coke just would have ramped that dickhead manner up. And he went, oh, I'll put her in her fucking place. And then to pick, to have a hill to die on like Zara being Japanese, only an asshole of the highest order would. But also my brain went, did he say brother for just to be sound? But it was actually his boyfriend. And the boyfriend was raging that some girl was trying to. But I think most likely cocaine in this current climate. I would think.
I think he was just like an incel, like was just mad
it
at
could be
women.
one of them fucking weirdos
because the
as well,
brother was like, oh, she means it's from Japan. Like the clothes might be made in Japan. I think he was trying to like diffuse the situation before, because your man like literally straight away out with the phone, like, oh, I prove her wrong. She can't say these things in the Crane Lane. How dare she suggest?
You'd have right to just lean over and go, look, push the phone down softly and go, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna explain the scenario. Go, listen, I have to talk to 3 people tonight as part of our group therapy thing because I'm actually a clinical psychopath, and I tore the face off the last person who crossed me. So I just wanted to hear now the whole Zara thing. I don't care.
Tell you to run. pretty quickly. Run away
And
now.
run fucking fast because I'm actually a pro athlete. So I'm just gonna fucking probably run you down and kill you.
And I'm on the run from the
And you're,
authorities.
and you're wearing 2 leather jackets home that night. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, and then I had to go back to Sinead for my jumper. It's funny, two leather jackets in here. But anyway, we could talk about the rugby, and it's gas because I was Energy gave me a jersey, which was lovely, and I was still wearing the jersey by the time we got to the Crane Lane, and people were asking me, "Did you play today?" And I was like, "How on earth could I have played today? Be in the Crane Lane, still in my jersey, like, are you well?"
Dirty elbows on you and
Thinking,
everything, like, yeah.
Still had like the line out
Full,
shape on my knee.
you're that full kit wanker, like that walks. Yeah.
yeah, I know, gas. But the actual match was brilliant. Like the crowd was brilliant. Now the actual rugby itself, it wasn't as good of a match as it could have been. Ireland just disrupted England's attack, and they did really well. Like to hold them out for so many period, like such a long period of time without scoring, which England no other team has been able to do to England this tournament so far. And like, she's kind of shitting off when you sit back and like the scoreline is 48-0, but you're still like, Jesus, we didn't do too badly. It's just kind of shows where we're at. But sure, look, we know where we're at. But same kind of standout performances from like same old heads like Niamh Jones and
Is it Niamh
Sam
Jones at
Monaghan
25 tackles?
Oh, an insane number, yeah, and didn't miss one.
Not one.
I think she's missed. I'd say she'd probably have one of the highest tackle counts out of most players, most weekends, and she's only missed one all tournament.
Jesus Christ, get that woman some ibuprofen for the rose shoulders. Oh my God.
Yeah. She's got a brilliant like low center of gravity, so she's very good at getting in chop, like very dynamic. Yeah, so yeah, she's unreal, and like sorry, the scrum was good. Line out still getting there, which is a little bit frustrating, but like just this is again where we're at. And again with these like 3 games in succession, you don't have another time, another chance to kind of have your 2 weeks off to really like get down to nitty gritty stuff. So the line out is just one of the things that just hasn't improved like the other areas across the tournament so far. But like we'll take it. Like I just thought they should have been proud of themselves, especially when like the speculation was it's going to be 100.
Could be 100. Yeah.
Some people saying, this is they shouldn't play. There's safety concerns. Like that's all. All right. Look, we know the gap is big, but still at the same time, these are senior players. Like It's So I'm glad that they kind of refuted all those points really, and the protest. So did you read about that? Did you hear there was a protest?
So this is the thing. I was watching the game, like it's I was keeping an eye on the game on Twitter, and then I got to see the extended highlights later on that evening. But of course, they didn't show anything on television. But the Twitter was absolutely, and Instagram was blowing up in my pocket. It was like there was somebody who follows us follows us both from, I think, their Irish women supporters Twitter handle, and I think she had been giving out. Was she giving out the posters?
Her and a few others,
yeah. And the posters were "I give a fuck," isn't it? The hashtag "I give a fuck." Like, I mean,
it's funny. But it was like kind of artistically done, so it's not FUCK. It's like F and a goal post and a CK. So it's quite nice. And like, look, the argument was, because they tried to like shut down, the bouncers or the security, whatever.
Oh my God!
Like, no, this can't be done. And I just thought it was funny because it was like the statement was from the RFU, like, we stopped going ahead because it's foul, abusive and inappropriate language.
While watching barbarians tear each other's heads off.
But
like,
no. Whatever about that. Like, yeah, there's kids there. You're right. There's kids and families and That's fine. Maybe you have a point. But that foul, abusive, inappropriate language came from the quote from the person at the dinner who said, "Who gives a fuck about women's rugby?" So I would have liked to, if they were going to come at the protest with that rationale, which can be warranted. Did they go at that man who also used that language about women's rugby? I don't know. if they did go at him and use this and said this is inappropriate, foul, and abusive to him, then they should have let it know. They should have let it be known, because they need to send a message. This language isn't going to be tolerated. It was only
Yeah.
not tolerated when it was in response to, in a protest form, which frankly, I just don't find good enough, to be honest. And just thought it was interesting. Like I didn't see any of it going ahead. Like I didn't see any of the protests. I saw a couple of the stickers around, and I actually had a little giggle. I just thought it was so funny, just seeing the little stickers like stuck around, because I didn't see anybody with them. I didn't see any posters. I saw on Twitter that it was going off, but however, I missed all of it. I don't know, but if someone's protesting, it's because they really care. They've really got to, they're the end of their tether. They're doing it for the players as well, because I think a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know, should they be protesting, blah blah. But they are doing it for the players. They are doing it for the game's best interest. So people go about things in different ways, and you have to kind of respect that as well. So in
But
my eyes, I'm a
there's
little
no
bit like,
roadmap.
fair play.
There is no roadmap as to how you get this thing
This is true.
fucking
Yeah,
properly on
there's no.
track. So
And
I
like,
mean, you can,
I
and
know.
it was in
Sorry, go ahead.
refute. Sorry, it was in refute to that, as you said, the exact statement, and that's what a good debate creates. So say somebody says, "I don't give a fuck," you would, well, I give a fuck.
Yes.
In other words,
Why?
you put the
Yeah.
onus. You started the fucks. I'll finish the fuck. So I mean,
Yeah.
I know his head is going to fucking explode, even if it is a kid, and if they're young enough to the point where like here's the thing: nobody had a problem with Paddy Patterson dropping f-bombs a couple of weeks back because he was passionate.
Mm.
Mac Hansen does it. Everybody's like, Mac, what do you like?
I know.
You know what I mean? Get a grip. Like, it's
know.
just a word. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the cold reality of it is, if you brought an alien down and went, have a look at this scenario, what do you think? That's a word that can be, some people find offensive, even though, let's be honest, the Emperor's New Clothes would state that, yeah, we're all offended. But the reality is 100% of the population use the word fuck at least 100 times in a day. We're watching.
I've never used it.
We're only to prop up my good moral standings. That's all I've ever used it for, because I'm not
only on this podcast.
Only on this podcast. Yeah. A senior rugby player has never sworn on the pitch or ever at training and ever at her mates or for fucking up on the. You actually no. You have a song. You have a song about giving out about rugby-based song where you're.
Oh, was there an F-bomb in that?
There is. Yeah, you're talking about the backs fucking up. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So now, what's your gate number as it started boarding yet?
Gate number 5, but no boarding yet, so we're all good. Yeah.
No boarding. So yeah, I was reiterating the point that all they were doing was refuting what they were saying. Nothing was wrong with, but if you brought an alien down, and this is hypothetical. I'm just saying, although the White House, the Pentagon Space Force have said that they are, it's looking like they are going to have to engage UFOs. Anyway, if you brought an alien down and brought him to Musgrave Park the other day and watched 30 people absolutely smash into each other as hard as they possibly can, trying to basically Colosseum style, Julius Caesar stuff, kill each other in a polite fashion, or a poster with some art on it. Like, which would you say is the most the more brutal and lasting in people? Like, there's girls and there's audience members roaring like dervishes, you know what I mean, at these to smash each other, and then somebody puts up a sticker that says, "I give a fuck," which is actually a nice sentiment. Somebody told me they give a fuck about me, I'd be like, thanks.
I know. It's
Thanks.
so true.
You know
and it's been kind of been interpreted as if it's like a troublemaking kind of thing, but actually, and I agree with that point. And if it was me as a player, and obviously I'm not speaking for any current player, like I can't and I won't speak for any current player, but if it was me, I know myself, if there was people on the outside saying, I give a fuck about this team, I would have very much appreciated it. And I'm not saying that they don't, but when you're in the player group, you can't have an opinion on it.
No.
So I know if it was me, and like back in the day when shit was happening with the team when we were there, and people on the outside were making this kind of noise, I would have been like, yes, people are on our side. So I hope that they can see that, I hope the players can see how much it means to like the supporters to go out and like print them off and make the artistic interpretation and present it like is is pretty cool. Like, and to distribute it at the game. God, can you hear me there now? Sorry,
I can.
man, she's getting a bit irate now. Final call. Oh yeah, no, that's not me. Grant.
Is that the way your mother references is that into the sitting room? She says final call for that's an
She tells me
unbelievably.
which gate to go in.
This is there's two gates, man. We have one in like that's it. We have two gates.
Actually, it's not too dissimilar. She's not just like final call. It's like, get down here now for your dinner. I told you already.
Well, it's the dog. It's going into the dog. The dog is having it otherwise. The dog is having it otherwise. Mother of Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Gate is closing. Gate is closing. It's going to the dog. But so what we have now, and like the overall like kind of the overview of the weekend in general is that like France and Wales had a good close game, and Italy and Scotland had a really much closer than the other game. Really close, competitive game as well, which Scotland pulled away with, which they were absolutely delighted with. Like they really struggled to get wins against Italy, so they were absolutely delighted with that. So Ireland going to Edinburgh this weekend is going to be a scary place to go for the Irish team. And like after the England game, I was kind of feeling like, you know what, Ireland are going to be feeling really, really positive after that now because of what they achieved in certain aspects, like their defence and putting phases together in attack and scrum and little things like that. So still struggling finishing off phases, but maybe they could feel like that's the last thing to put into place going into Scotland. And then when I saw Scotland and Italy and the result that Scotland got, I was like, oh, Jesus, like, that's really gonna...
There's been a few results throughout this that have kind of would throw you one way, then pull you back the other way. Like, oh, no, I'm not saying Ireland all of a sudden are going to put together... But as you... Like, are they going to put together this amazing... They need a serious attack coach. Like that's
they did it last year.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. They could pull it together. I'm not saying they will, but I mean, who fucking knows?
No, they definitely could, and I always believe in them, like that they, you know, it's going to click for them at some stage, and then you know when it starts to click on the pitch, the confidence you get from that, and then likewise, and Scotland are guilty of this, of like giving a really good result one week and then kind of like letting it kind of unravel the following week. So that's what you'd be hoping for, you know, as a player. And going up to Scotland there now, you just want to like fuck up their party a little bit, kind of like what they did to England. You know, England were coming in like literally looking for 100 points and they couldn't even score. They didn't score for like half an hour, you know. It was like
that in itself is a snapshot for the coaches going forward this week. You'd bookend nearly that half an hour ago. Look, we did here. We closed out. Let's be honest, arguably the best team in the world. We closed them out for half an hour. Like, so it can be done. Yeah. Now, you know, England are England and all the rest of it, but at the same time, you could see even in the post-match chat, like there was confidence. It was like, no, we're happy and. We're not happy with the result, clearly, but at the same time, we're happy with how we played in large segments of that game.
And that's all relative to how the tournament has been going so far for them anyway. So, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, continue to be hard on yourself? Like, look, we know where they're at. They'll have to take the small wins and just keep building from there, because that's what, you know, that's the one good, you know, the good thing about, like, this tournament so far is that the squad remained the same. And like, you know, I know, sure, we know we're all talking about how good sevens girls are, like, but sevens coming in and out can mean that the following year you still have girls that are on their 1 or 2 caps because they played twice and then the other girls came in. So now they'll have, you know, a lot of them will have played their like 5 consecutive games. How much better will they be next year? You know, they have this whole tournament behind them then. And given how difficult this was, that'll characterize them a lot, you know. So we'll see this weekend. It's going to be tough, like, and if they take the wooden spoon, it'll be the first time in 19 years that they'll have come last. So that's something that needs to be like definitely reviewed again. And then we'll miss out on the WXV tournament playoff, so we could go into WXV 3. So that's it's not ideal. Like WXV 2 would have been like much better. Obviously, number 1 is one you're going for.
Who's 3? Who's in 3? What kind of teams?
Who was it?
Uruguay.
The other day? No, not even that bad. So, Spain.
Sorry, Troy. Are you?
No, but it's not as low down as that. It's not as low down
Yes, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
sorry, Uruguay men are way stronger than Uruguay women. So sorry, that
Okay,
wasn't.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So hang on. I'll find that out. I'll find it out. Well, it might be clearer. It will be clearer next week what the situation is. So
Yeah.
because a few countries were thrown around and it's still undecided and there's it's hard to get detail on it as well. But Spain will play off with the fifth place in the Six Nations to get into the WXV2. So it could be Spain or Scotland or Italy. Whoever comes like fifth will be in that tournament as well. And yeah, I'll find it out.
To avoid the wooden spoon, we actually need a bonus point against Scotland. Yeah. So who knows? Who fucking knows? But
yeah.
Minimum 4 tries. Well. Yeah, a bonus point win, exactly. So next weekend, obviously, like you were saying, France and England, it's going to be the fucking Goliath versus Goliath, essentially.
Yeah. And France will be like licking their lips after.
Oh yeah.
England last week, even though I feel like England, when they perform like that, they never continue to perform like that. So, and also they had a lot of kind of new combinations and stuff. England did, so you can be sure for next week now. Even though they had 2 bad injuries, like Hannah Botterman, who was only coming back from injury, got injured, and Marley Packer, like the new captain, she was in a boot afterwards as well. She looked pretty bad, so she'll be out for next week. So that's France were like sensational as well last weekend. So they'll be licking their lips coming into Twickenham. Like it's actually going to be brilliant. I still back England though. I still think England will
at home.
take
Yeah, when they start singing the chariots and stuff like that, you'd imagine 50,000 of that crowd.
I'll be there in my Irish jersey anyway.
It's big ignorant, isn't you? Eating custard creams, going fuck the laddie.
Singing the rock and roll bits. But you know what? We're going to try and get the Irish gang together then to watch the match in the pub then later. Have you ever been to Richmond in London?
I think I have. I think I did a comedy gig somewhere near there. It's a nice area, isn't it?
It's gorgeous, yeah. So like Twickenham is only like a train stop away, so we'll go from Twickenham to Richmond and watch the match. And there's a lovely bar called the Sun. It used to be our like watering hole after our matches in Richmond, because I had played for Richmond for years. And it's a great pub.
Is there a small cathedral near there? No. It sounds vaguely familiar. Like there was a friend of mine. He was he's not chaplain, like he wasn't ordained, but what he was is kind of the manager of a Protestant church there. And I'm nearly sure we were drinking in the Sun. I'm nearly sure we drank in the Sun.
There used to be a church up the road that has now been like turned into apartments.
It could be that. It could be that, because he's gone out of there since. He's not there anymore.
David Attenborough lives there.
Oh, sure, it must be all right. So yeah.
So we'll see if David's around.
Get him on the pod, see if he's interested in rugby, you know.
What a legend. There's one person you'd want to meet.
Oh my, and nobody gets him, like, because nobody gets him on their shit, because in fairness,
he's like, fuck off.
Do you know, but he's one of those few people who could, their manager be going, Dave, it'd be great for the new series if you'd maybe do Graham Norton. He'd be like, I'm David fucking Attenborough. Do you think I need any?
Gone on Graham Norton.
I don't think he has, but the thing is, he wouldn't have to. He'd only do it for the crack.
Yeah,
He'd have to. If his name is attached to any documentary. Actually, we might put it at the top of this, just David Attenborough, Banana and Bear Rugby Podcast. Just
some real people in. But what's fun, what I find funny about David Attenborough is like his messages of like absolute despair, which I don't think he likes giving, but he feels is like very necessary. Like, but there's still so many people actually don't believe that global warming is real. People who think that it's like made up.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't, how whatever, like, do your own research kind of stuff, but how could you say that David Attenborough is wrong?
Do you know what? To be fair, he could tell me anything. What I want to get David Attenborough into is what I'm a freak for at the minute is ancient civilizations. that I believe that were around a lot longer than they've been telling us. The 568,000.
Not like when we're talking about Newgrange.
Yeah. All I'll tell you, if you've got time and if you're bored on the flight, just type in the Sumerians and the Anunnaki. Just type that in, and you may not get off the flight. You'll be that deep into a rabbit hole of, oh my Jesus Christ. Actually,
do you use your Wi-Fi? Do you use your internet on the plane?
Of course, you can use internet on the planes now. Oh, do you not fly on those ones? No, it's
Well, I fly Aer Lingus, which is as expensive as it gets for me.
To be fair, I haven't been on a plane in 4 years. 3 years haven't been on a plane. I
really
have not
moved on since then.
What, did they flap now or something? What's moved on?
And you just stick your legs out the bottom and run along the runway till you take off.
I actually watched.
You ran down in Mallow, just Captain O'Cana. Sorry,
yeah.
I tell you about Captain O'Cana. They had a festival in Mallow last week.
Yes, yeah.
It's on the news, actually. It's going to be on Nationwide in a week or two. I absolutely love Nationwide, you know.
It's one of the best shows ever, Nationwide.
Agreed.
And I do like a touch of rain in the ears, and I'll show my rural side here. I do like every so often I look at Ear to the Ground. I won't lie.
Yeah. No, Ear to the Ground is very well made.
It is, yes.
You know what? TG Carr does some unbelievable shows. Like, you see that show called The Contractors?
Yeah.
So good.
Shout out to my very good friend, Mr. Conroy. He's Don Conroy's son, Richie Conroy, and he produces an awful lot of those things for TG Carr.
Unbelievable, like the camera work and like the chatting to people. Oh my god, I loved it. I was like, I'd watch it again. But what are we talking about?
I don't know. We were in Richmond, then we got to David Attenborough, and now we're on to TG Carr.
Oh, Captain O'Cana, because we're talking about sticking your legs out the bottom of the thing. So there's a lovely film called The Runway, and it's like very, very loosely based on Captain O'Cana landing in Mallow. But like the film is like the same kind of storyline, but obviously sensationalized for, you know, Hollywood drama.
Yeah.
But the fella in it is Colombian, the fella who crashes the plane. So I don't know where but like your one Kerry what's her face from the Banshees of Inisherin, like it's actually kind of Banshees of Inisherin-esque.
I've heard of it because Bernard Casey, he is a very good impressionist and a very good comedian, and he's played by Club. We're good old friends, but he did he did a video the other day on behalf of that festival. He played his 3 characters all talking about it, and this Captain O'Cana. Captain O'Cana was from where? Was he Spanish?
He was Mexican. And he was kind of between Shannon and Cork, and there was an emergency with his plane, and they directed him to Mallow Racecourse. And he literally had to fly in, land in the racecourse, and it took 39 days. They had to build a runway for the flight to take off again. And like people were down, like they had to like put security on the plane, and he had to stay in Mallow for like 39 days, and like they all welcomed him and like got to know him, and like they built the runway, and like they're still like connected with. Now he died. He must have died recently enough because they scattered his ashes in the race course in Mallow.
Stop.
Yeah, on the runway. So there's still like that lovely like connection between Mallow and Mexico. So
what was he doing? If you don't mind me asking, what was he doing?
I don't know.
Was it drugs? Was it drugs? Is that what built the runway? Must have been full to the gills with cocaine.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, there was actually some Mexican businessmen on it, and they were like shipped to Shannon and then flown out, but he had to stay with the plane.
Ah, right. Because they put on a big festival. There's all sorts. They have everything going on over.
Oh my god, music and mariachi and like I'm just doing it in
mariachi. I love the connection from Mexico. Like and also actually shout out to Rathcormac again. There's I don't know if it's a Mexican restaurant or a Mexican themed shop in Rathcormac. Of all the shops and places to have a Mexican themed this little village. Anyway, did you get to see any of the Munster incredible match? Just
No,
just to dip my toe
no,
in one of our favorite teams.
no. But I saw some of the tries. Fucking hell.
Well worth a watch back. It's Goliath stuff to come back. Oh my God, the violence! Those South Africans, Jesus Christ!
Sorry, what am I talking about? I saw the last like 10 minutes of it because it was on the same time as the Women's Six Nations, which is an awful
Yes,
pain in the arse, like to have
I
a
know.
clash like that. But I better head away there now soon to me Algeta because it'll be
On
dangerous.
Yatta, yes, and after a magical mystery tour,
Yes.
which I'm very, very. Are you going to keep us updated on Instagram or?
Yes,
No.
yes, I
Oh, you
can.
are? Okay. Oh, this is the
Yeah.
only way I'm going to slowly start to find out, but I won't get the
It
nuts
will
and
be
bolts of.
cryptic enough. Like everyone's going to be writing to me being like, "Oh, are you back playing in London?" I'm just going to be like, "No."
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's all sorts. Will we get
I'm
any of the
saying
nuts
no.
and bolts of it next Tuesday?
Yeah, you might. I'll see. I'll see.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The cloak of invisibility is going over. Oh, jeez, I'm very excited. This is
The plot chickens.
chicken, the plot chickens. Right, I'm going to let you get your gate. Please hit subscribe, rate, and tell all your friends and nanas about it. And I was dying for that last crisp. Fair play to you. You didn't crunch into through the
No,
whole
but few left.
whole
There's a
podcast.
few left. The
Fair.
flight's not actually leaving. I just want to eat the rest
You
of my
trust
potatoes.
Right, I'm going to go in and make a sup of tea for myself.
Enjoy.
Go
Well, I'll
forth.
talk to you next week.
Ah, Jesus, I hope you do because I'm very, very. Them pigtails are rightly annoying me now because I'm like, did she bring her boots with her? What's happening here now? What's happening?
No, it's only because I didn't have time to dry my hair properly. And put
There we
them
go. Yeah,
back.
that's it. So Jesus Christ, you could have tied it up in one owl horsetail at the back. Instead, now you have pigtails on. There's something going on. There's something. I swear to God, if I see your head bandaged, if I see a bandage on your head over the next few days and you didn't tell me, I won't
No,
be a
do you
bit
know what
upset
it is?
actually.
I've got a show on Broadway. I'm going in as the little girl from
Annie.
Matilda.
Oh.
All right. Farewell. Wish me luck.
Shlán.
It's the Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.